Project management is an attempt to attain a result with a defined beginning and a defined end. It is fraught with constraints including time, budget, resources, and deliverables. Microsoft Project is a program that helps you with planning, executing, controlling, and closing the work of resources to achieve specific goals and meet specific success objectives. So that's project management, and Microsoft Project is supposed to help you with your project management. I'm just going to start Microsoft Project. When I first start Microsoft Project, I encounter this startup screen. If you encounter this startup screen, simply click Blank Project and you'll be taken into Microsoft Project. If you don't encounter the startup screen, you may be taken straight here, which is great. At the end of the day, we both end up here. Now, looking at the Microsoft Project screen to start with, the first thing I want to have a look at is the Quick Access toolbar. In the very top left corner of your screen is a toolbar which contains 3 buttons, and it's known as the Quick Access toolbar, and you can see my mouse resting on it in the top left corner. The first thing I want to do is move the Quick Access toolbar, because the idea is we're going to add lots of buttons to this toolbar to make Microsoft Project quick and easy to use. If we start adding lots of buttons to this toolbar, in a short amount of time it starts banging heads with these particular ribbon titles and the name of the project. So the first thing I'm going to do is click the Customize Quick Access toolbar and choose the option at the very bottom of this menu called Show Below the Ribbon. Once I show the Quick Access toolbar below the ribbon, I could also click this button here and show it back above the ribbon, and it returns to its original place. So I guess what we're saying also is this big panel here that runs the full length of the top of your screen is known as the ribbon. So again, I'd like you to move the Quick Access toolbar and show it below the ribbon. The next thing I'd like to do is customize the Quick Access toolbar. So I'm going to click the Customize Quick Access toolbar yet again, and I'm going to turn on the option New. Now I have a button on my toolbar which enables me to quickly create a new project file with one click. If I go back into the Customize Quick Access toolbar button, I also have the option to turn on Open. I now can go back in again and turn on Save As, turn on Email, and basically what I'd like you to do is turn on all the listed options with touch and mouse mode being the last option. Now this particular option you may decide that you do or don't want to turn it on. The idea with this, if I turn it on, is I now have a button that allows me to switch between mouse mode and between touch mode. If you have a device that allows you to touch the screen, you may want to go into touch mode, which puts more space between the commands and allows your big finger to easily touch commands, and I'll just show you. And so see how it's so spaced out now that I can easily use my finger to touch things. But because I'm not using a touch device, I'm actually going to put it back to mouse mode, which causes the buttons to get tighter together. And in fact, I'm going to go back into the Customize Quick Access toolbar button, and I'm going to turn that option off because I don't need it. So the whole idea is move the Quick Access toolbar below the ribbon and turn on those things that you would find useful, and I suggest you turn on everything and perhaps not the touch mouse mode. So I'll turn that off. Now besides the Quick Access toolbar, we mentioned the ribbon, and that's this large panel here. The only thing I'd say about the ribbon is it is broken up into various tabs. There's the Task tab, the Resource tab, the Report tab, the Project tab, and your notes will often ask you to go to, say, the Task tab, and that would be there. Now, if you can't see your ribbon, it may be because you've accidentally double-clicked and closed the ribbon, or minimized the ribbon, I should say. If I double-click Tasks, for example, I will minimize my ribbon, and it declutters the screen, which can be useful sometimes. But what I want to do is double-click to bring my ribbon back. Now, if you don't double-click, let's say I hide it again, if you click once, it will temporarily show. Notice it's hiding the timeline underneath, and as soon as you click away, it'll hide again. So if you click once, it's only a temporary show. You really need to double click to get it back properly so it stays up and visible the entire time you're using Project. Now besides the ribbon also is the timeline, and that's this area here, and it even says timeline on the left hand side. The timeline is sitting above the Gantt, which is what we have on the right hand side here. We have the Gantt on the right, and we have the entry table on the left, and we have the timeline up above. And the whole idea is it will eventually have a realistic start date and a realistic finish date for the project, and we can actually drag tasks up and out of this table and onto this timeline, just significant tasks, to give an idea of when significant tasks will occur during the life of the project. It's something you can turn off and turn on. You can do this under the View tab in the ribbon. You can actually untick timeline and it will disappear. And if you retick it, it will reappear. So I'm actually going to turn mine off for the moment. So I'm going to untick timeline. So be aware how you turn on and turn off the timeline. Now the other thing is the view bar. On the left hand side of your screen you will see the wording Gantt chart. And if I right click that, I have the option to choose View Bar just by clicking it. So I'll click View Bar and now I'm seeing my view bar. Some people find this useful. It enables you to flick between different views of your project, and some people don't find it useful. They would rather use this option, which we added to the Quick Access toolbar, which also allows us to switch to different views of a project. Myself, I prefer to use this drop down here because it's nice and concise and takes up the least amount of screen space. And with project, we tend to always be fighting with screen space and trying to see as much as we can on a screen. So I'm actually going to right click the view bar and untick it just by clicking, and I'm going to get rid of the view bar. So be aware that your screen might look slightly different to mine, and that is because you may not have moved and customized your Quick Access toolbar, you may not have hidden your timeline, and you may not have hidden, or you may have showing your view bar on the left hand side. So looking at the screen, just in conclusion, this again, as I mentioned, is a table, and it's actually the entry table because there's a variety of tables. This here on the right hand side is the Gantt, and you can actually move the split as well. You can dedicate less space to the table and more to the Gantt, and vice versa. So I'm just going to move this divider so I can see the columns start, finish. The vertical grey bars, they are considered non-working days, so they're every Saturday and Sunday. And for me, this green line here is today. So today is Monday, so that's why the green line is showing there. And that green line, or that line, which is today's date, will move. At the very bottom of your screen, you also have an area known as the status bar. It has certain things like being able to zoom in and be able to zoom out, and different views as well that you can switch between. You can right click the status bar and turn things on and off. So if you feel that you're seeing some things in this video that you don't have and I have, then it may be that you have to right click the very bottom panel of your project and actually ensure that everything is ticked. And that's pretty much your screen.